Okay, here's another thing that happens to new knitters is that you're knitting along and everything looks fine, but suddenly you get a giant hole in your knitting. It's not these nice, neat rows of V's. So one of the things that happens is you're knitting along, la la la, and maybe you're watching TV and you don't notice that you missed the putting the needle. Oops, you miss putting the needle in and you go to wrap and you're like, oh, I didn't put the needle in, and then you stick it in and then knit. So this creates this, I don't know, what we call a yarn over, but it's also gonna make a hole. So when you know, you're knitting along and you don't realize that that happened, right? So let's pretend you got to the end of the row and now you're purling back, right? And you're purling and you're like, la la la, I'm just purling along, don't notice anything. And then all of a sudden you get to this point and you're like, wait, what? What is this thing? It's not, it doesn't have the traditional bumps like these stitches have. It's just kind of like all naked hanging out there, right? And then sometimes you can even drop it off the needle and now you've got this flimsy thing. Well, or you could knit it. You could be like, oh, or purl it or something. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll just purl it. I don't know what I'm doing, right? And you just keep knitting and knitting and knitting. And then all of a sudden, you get to the other side and you're like, wait, there's this big hole. Well, that hole was created because you added a stitch. When you wrap the yarn around, that's actually creating another stitch. And so if you notice your knitting kind of like growing this way, it's because you've added some stitches and you'll see these little holes, and that's what that is. And these are strategic for actually making lace. Like if you want to make wholly lacy things, that's how you do it. But it's very easy to do it by accident. So just as you're knitting, make sure the needle goes into the needle before you wrap around. Or if you see it, if you're like, oh shoot, I did this, or you put it into the needle and you wrap around like both behind that needle and this, like a instead of doing this, you wrap around both and then pull it and like do some weird funky like I'm gonna create a new stitch or something. I don't know, whatever. Lots of accidents can happen that way. Also, what I just did was, I don't know if you can see this, but splitting. Oh sure, now when I wanted to. Okay, so like you split the yarn, that can create a whole new stitch or create a hole in your knitting. So as you're a newbie, just watch your stitch, watch what's going on in here, watch what happens when you wrap. And when you get to a point where you can, watch movies in it, then, you'll be fine.